Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. Season 3, episode number 18 of Empire State Hoops, right in the midst of the NBA playoffs. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild. Alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias. Join me once again, as per usual, every single week. And today's episode of Empire State Hoops is powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, week 1 of the playoffs, we're in the midst of it. The opening weekend was absolutely spectacular. I believe it was the most viewed NBA playoff opening weekend in, I think 25 years.
Really?
Which was surprising to see for sure.
That's very surprising. Yeah,
the ratings went up.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So that's actually very good for the NBA.
So it was a very exciting weekend of opening game ones on Saturday and Sunday. And we're going to start things off with the New York Knicks right off the bat. The Knicks, the Pistons, we knew right away this was going to be a physical series.
Yep.
When you look at the young core they have with the veteran leadership that they have on their side with a lot of playoff experience. I mean, Dennis Schroeder he's played in a bazillion playoff games, it seems like, since his rookie year with Atlanta.
Yeah.
But you bring it back to the play. Let's start off with game 1. So Knicks win 123-112. You noticed throughout the game it was really just back and forth much of the way, which we knew that's how this series was going to be. And it was just a matter of who was going to guard Cade Cunningham. And you said OG Anunoby was going to get the assignment. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
There were times where they did put Mikal Bridges on him in that scenario, and Cade Cunningham kind of took advantage of that because he knew that Mikal, even though he is a solid defender, he's a guy who is not really going to be able to space on the inside.
Yeah.
And Cunningham wanted to attack the rim, and he did exactly a lot of that in game 1, despite his shooting struggles with only 2 points through much of the early portion of the game. And then the second game, of course, he had the bounce back. But getting back to the big point of the Knicks in game 1, it was the 21-0 run in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It was sparked by Cameron Payne, Jalen Brunson. The defense of Karl Anthony Towns in this game was spectacular. Brunson with 34 points, 8 assists. Karl Anthony Towns, the 23-point double-double with 23 and 11. And OG Anunoby had himself a day with 23 points and 7 rebounds as well. So you give credit to that. But, I mean, the Knicks bench in this game was also spectacular. You talk about the minutes from Landry Shamet, Cameron Payne, Deuce McBride. That's what led to the win. They did exactly what they had to do, and it seemed like in the fourth quarter, that during that 21-0 run for the Pistons, they were just shell-shocked.
Yeah.
And it seemed like there was a point where I noticed during the broadcast, Doris Burke said, they need to call a timeout. I absolutely agreed because they seemed shell-shocked and didn't know what to do because the Knicks were getting everything they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, JB Bickerstaff's idea to not call a timeout throughout the 21-0 run is definitely beyond me. I would have definitely called timeout if I'm their head coach and make sure my guys are good. But these guys were definitely flustered during that 21-0 run. I think it's a foregone conclusion that that's what really helped the Knicks with that 21-0 run. But also what I think helped the Knicks there is Tom Thibodeau's decision to pretty much bench Mikal Bridges throughout that 21-0 run for Cam Payne, because Cam Payne got that extra burst and extra minutes down the end that he wasn't supposed to get normally. And that decision there was really what helped start that 21-0 run. Cam Payne, I know he had a nice lefty layup on the left-hand side with also a 3 right after that, and that's really what got the Knicks going. And from there, they went on the 21-0 run. So it's credit to Tom Thibodeau and the play of Cam Payne there. He was definitely huge in game 1, but like you said, this was just a back-and-forth game throughout the entire thing. I think both game 1 and game 2, we've seen about 40 lead changes combined with those 2 games. So obviously a very entertaining series, and it's definitely looked up to what it's been so far and what we were hoping it to be.
It indeed has lived up to all the hype, and then that goes into game 2 on Monday night on TNT and MSG, where you talk about a Pistons team that is coming into this game knowing you come out with a split, you're feeling pretty good about yourselves with a split at the Garden going back to your home in Detroit. So Pistons beat the Knicks in game 2, 100-94. Bounce back win. Cade Cunningham was spectacular in this game. 33 points, 12 rebounds. The Knicks could not find a way to stop him.
Yeah.
And there was a point in the third and fourth quarter. The Pistons had a 13-point lead.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of crazy. I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you, but firstly with Cade Cunningham, you know, we all knew that Cade Cunningham was going to dominate, and he was going to definitely bounce back after that, after the poor shooting performance in Game 1. However, I always preach that, you know, we're going to see Cade Cunningham put up those numbers, but it's how he puts up those numbers. And this game, he had 33, 12, and I believe 3 assists, but he was really working through his teammates with those 3 assists. Like, he was facilitating the ball very well, in my opinion, and it got them the open shots. I believe he had a couple assists, or passes to assists, meaning that he passed it to someone. And that person got the assist off the score by another person. But I think that's definitely what happened for the Knicks. Cade Cunningham really just took control of the game later on. And it was just a lot. Cade Cunningham definitely bounced back. And we knew we were going to see this Cade Cunningham. It's just that I was very impressed with how dominant he was down the stretch as well.
And talking about a young player saying after his first game in the Garden, he said, I had a great time. I had a great time despite the loss. And then he comes into game 2 and shows the world, I can do this.
Yeah, I mean, the Garden, I think, is the best place to play in the entire NBA during the playoffs. There's nothing like it. I don't know if you've been to a playoff game or like any type of crazy atmosphere at the Garden, the Garden. I experienced that last year in the final game of the season against the Bulls. That was the craziest game I ever been to. It was completely absurd. So knowing that experience, I can see why a lot of NBA players want to play that or play in that environment. So Cade Cunningham, I'm not surprised by those comments that he made with the Garden. It's definitely a fun place to play in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and we've noticed that, of course, over the past several years. But now it's going to shift to Detroit for games 3 and 4. So this is going to be the interesting thing to keep our eyes on as well. So with the series going back to Detroit, now if you're the Pistons taking this, you know exactly what this Knicks team can do.
Yeah.
You know how to stop them. You played them in the end of the regular season at your house, and you beat them. And you were 3-1 against them this year. So that's another thing to keep an eye on as well. But really with what the Pistons did this year, I think you go back to your home floor after you beat the Knicks at the Garden. There's really, like, you know what you got to do. You got to stop Jalen Brunson. You got to stop Karl-Anthony Towns. But for the Knicks here, you know what this Pistons team is capable of.
Yeah.
You know what your strategy is and who you want matching up against certain guys. And it's just a matter of taking advantage of it. You're going to have to win a game on the road to win this series. They did it against Philadelphia last year. They're stuck in the same scenario.
Yeah, and fortunately, obviously, I think we both said Knicks in either 5 or 6. So that means that the Knicks were going to lose a game in this playoff series. However, I didn't think that was going to be the first 2 games in the Garden. I was sure that maybe we sweep them in the Garden, then we'll drop game 3, have our bounce back game 4 like we did last year, and then bounce back again in game 5 and take it there. But that's not what we saw here. And heading 1-1 into Detroit, off a loss is something that I'm not very comfortable with as a Knicks fan, unfortunately. Obviously, you hit it on the nail where both the teams now know what they need to do. It's just all about seizing the moment. For the Knicks, it's the surrounding players around Brunson that need to get it done. Mikal Bridges, in the game 2, he had 19 points off of 8 for 18 from the field, and Cat had a similar numbers, 10 points with 6 rebounds, and I believe he was like 5 for 11 from the field. So poor efficiency from both of those guys. And I know Mikal Bridges, he missed a lot of shots down the clutch. I know it was like 2 or 3 3-pointers that it could either tied the game or gave us the lead. So he has to step it up there. I do agree with that. And then Cat, he was nowhere to be found in the second half. And it's frustrating watching it because Cat is getting guarded most of the time by Tobias Harris. I mean, it doesn't get more simpler than just give him the ball in the paint down low and let him go to work. But he's just all around the perimeter. I don't know why he's doing that so much, but definitely both of those guys need to step up. I need to see more from Deuce McBride. He was held to 0 points in game 1 and only 8 in game 2. So I need to see more. I think if we get a 20 ball out of Deuce McBride in one of these games, we're for sure going to win. So I just need to see a lot of our guys step it up on offense in order for us to win this game.
I mean, Karl-Anthony Towns especially. Dude had 10 points in the first half, was an absolute 0 in the second half. His defense was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
His offensive struggles continued in the second half, so he needs to have a big bounce-back game. Mikal Bridges has to get the shot down and was not able to tie the game when we were down by 3 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was his last chance to do it, and he just couldn't make the shot.
And it's not entirely on Mikal Bridges. I know Brunson had a terrible 3-pointer attempt when we were down by 3 as well. So not all the blame is to go on Bridges there, but it's also the fact that the Pistons, this was their first playoff game win in 15 games, and that's lasting until 2008. So they're already coming into this game 3 with a lot of motivation. Now they're back with their home crowd. They just got their first playoff win in over, I'm trying to do the quick math, 17 years. So again, it's a lot of momentum here for the Pistons. So the Knicks know how to deal with that momentum when it's not on their side. I'm confident that we can get a game 3 dub here.
That is a fantastic stat for the Pistons, though. But just a reminder for players that were on the Pistons back in 2008, just so you remember, there was guys like Chauncey Billups, Richard Hamilton, and Rasheed Wallace. So there were some examples for you for the last time the Pistons won a playoff game, and that was against the Boston Celtics, who went on to win the title in 2008, of course, after beating the Pistons in 6 in the Eastern Conference Finals. But yes, that's what the shift will be. So now we go to Detroit, and what do you think out of this with games 3 and 4? Do you think we have a split and we go to a series tied 2-2 in Game 5, or do we see the Knicks go up 3-1 going back to New York?
Yeah, I always preach that Game 3 is the most important series, or the most important game in a 7-game series. That first trip back to a new location really is going to tell you if that home court or the team that's at home has good home court advantage, or if the other team is just better on the way. On the road. So I think the Game 3 is definitely important. Again, heading into 1-1 with the Knicks dropping one, I can see the Knicks dropping this Game 3, unfortunately. It's going to be a lot to come back from with this momentum. I need to see a different effort from both Mikal Bridges and Cat, and also Deuce McBride, in order for me to feel confident again. But then I think we take it back in Game 4. I think we go split both ways in Detroit and New York, and we bring it back for Game 5, 2-2.
I think that's the best way you can go about this. I mean, if you lose one in Detroit, you got to win the next one. But you would like to win Game 3 in this scenario, I think.
Of course.
And then if you lose Game 4, and worst comes worst, you go back to New York. You're in a Game 5 scenario. You're tied 2-2. And then you have to win that game to go back to Detroit Game 6, so you don't force a game. So a Game 7 is not forced back in New York. So that's really my prediction on this. And I mean, we're going to see where it goes here. It's definitely going to be interesting. Like, this series is far from over. For anyone that's watched this series so far through the first 2 games, it has been nothing but spectacular. It has been back and forth drama on both sides. Physicality is what exactly we expected, and we're going to expect more of that in Detroit. And I mean, we know the story with how Pistons fans don't want Knicks fans there. Knicks fans are going to show up.
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to travel. I don't care if they're blocking off the restrictions of purchases and Ticketmaster. We're definitely going to show up. That it's no doubt in my mind that the Knicks faithful will be there. But it's just really all about the guys on the floor. You can have all the fans in the stadium you want. It's about the guys on the floor making the effort. And I need to see more of an effort from our main guys that haven't been able to get it done. We all knew that Brunson was, of course, going to carry us. He's one of the best playoff performers in the entire NBA. He's also historically one of the best NBA or playoff performers. So if the guys can step up around him, if we can get a Mikal Bridges 30 ball, we're gonna win. If we could get a Deuce McBride 20 ball, we're gonna win. If we're gonna get a Cat double with 20 and 20, we're gonna definitely win. Along with Brunson's amazing play so far. So I'm hopeful for that can happen. I obviously, you want to go in and sweep Detroit in Detroit. That's obviously the best case scenario. But realistically speaking, I think Detroit does have our number right now with the momentum that they have going into Game 3. So I could definitely see a Game 3 drop here for the Knicks. But again, I just need to see more effort from our guys.
And we'll find out what happens on the road in Detroit with the New York Knicks. They play Detroit on Thursday night in Detroit, and then they will play again for Game 4, not until Sunday.
Wow, that's a bit of a break, yeah.
So about 2 days off in between games, and then since it's already guaranteed there will be a Game 5. So the series will be going back to New York at next Tuesday is when Game 5 will be.
Yeah.
And then if the series does go to the full 7, Game 7 would be Saturday, May 3rd.
Gotcha. Okay, so of course we're not trying to go into a Game 7. I don't want any type of ticket sales happening for Game 6 or 7. But again, it's a real possibility now that the Pistons made this a series. I'm definitely excited to see where this one goes.
Knicks and Pistons, first time since 1992. We've seen this series off to a great start. But coming up after the break, we're going to shift over to the Western Conference side of the NBA playoffs. We're going to touch on LeBron and the Lakers, Edwards and the Timberwolves, Jokic and the Nuggets, Kawhi and the Clippers. Coming up right after the break here on Season 3, Episode 18 of Empire State Hoops. We'll be right back.
Hey there, basketball fans. Are you ready to take your love for the game to a whole new level? Well, listen up. We've got something that will make your hoop dreams come true. Introducing Sport Pros USA, the ultimate destination for all your backyard sport court needs. Whether you're a diehard Knicks fan or just looking for some slam dunk fun with your family, Sport Pros USA has got you covered. Picture this, it's a sunny afternoon in New York, and you step out onto your very own custom-built backyard basketball court. The court where legends are born and memories are made. A court where you can unleash your inner baller and shoot hoops like your favorite Knicks players. But it's not just about basketball. It's about family, friends, and fun. Whether you're hosting a game of horse with your buddies or teaching your kids how to dribble and shoot, Sport Pros USA brings the magic of the game right to your doorstep. Our courts are more than just a place to play. They're a place to connect, bond, and create unforgettable moments. And with Sport Pros USA, you can have it all, right in your own backyard. We're not just building courts, we're building dreams. Dreams of buzzer beaters, comebacks, and endless laughter. So why wait? Give us a call at 877-HOOPS-NJ or visit sportprosusa.com today to start designing your very own backyard basketball court. Remember, at Sport Pros USA, we believe that every home deserves a court, and every family deserves the joy of playing together. So don't just watch the game, be a part of it.
And we are back here once again, Season 3, Episode number 18 of Empire State Hoops. I'm your host, Adam Rothschild, and alongside me is my co-host, Marquise Frias. Joining me once again here on a spectacular week of NBA playoff basketball, continuing to roll on as well. So we talked about the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons in the first half of the episode. Now we're going to shift over to the Western Conference and talk about a few of the playoff series that are going on currently. So Lakers-Timberwolves, Lakers get the win last night over Minnesota.
Yep.
Anthony Edwards in game one, I said he had to go in there and say, I am that dude. He did exactly that, and they stole game one. But LeBron, Luka, and company win game two, and we're tied 1-1 going to Minnesota. So a lot of interesting things to look at here. So for the Lakers, you have to find a way to keep riding the wave of momentum you got going to Minnesota.
Yeah.
If you're Anthony Edwards in Minnesota, you know there's still tons of time left, but now you're going back home with a chance to really make this a series.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in game one, we saw what Anthony Edwards can do in a playoff series. He can easily take over a playoff series. I know the numbers won't reflect it, but his presence alone out there put a lot of pressure on the Lakers defensively. So, again, I love what we're seeing from Anthony Edwards. He's bringing that energy. We already saw his $50,000 fine for the comments he made to a fan courtside. Again, loving the energy that I'm seeing from the Timberwolves. And everybody thought that, the Lakers were going to run away with this one, but the Wolves are here to stay. I'm fairly confident. I think I was the one that said that the Lakers, they're probably going to take this in 5, but now what I'm seeing from the Wolves, now that they have that energy, I think they could make this either a 6. Or they could probably lose in 5 still, but I'm liking the chances of them losing in 6, maybe even 7, taking it all the way there, because this is a very young and very hungry Wolves team, obviously losing in last year's conference finals, and they want to trip back. So obviously you're going to see another energy from the Wolves this year, but this Lakers team, man, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Luka Doncic as well offensively. He has 37 in game 1 and then 31 in game 2, and I for some reason, I don't know why, but we're getting a lot of switches with the Wolves defensively, and somehow Luka Doncic just is ending up with Rudy Gobert guarding him. Every single time it's barbecue chicken for him there, so I'm loving what I'm seeing with that. So again, I think you talked about riding the momentum for the Lakers. I think they need to ride it with Luka Doncic this next game. Right now, LeBron, he's playing very well, but not like shooting efficiently. Luka, however, he's been shooting very efficiently. So again, I just need to see that step-up effort from LeBron offensively. I think he's still getting it done, of course, with facilitating and rebounding. He had 9 rebounds in game 1. So again, I want to see more from LeBron there, but just keep riding Luka, and he'll carry you to destiny for real.
I think Rudy Gobert is probably having the flashbacks from last year after getting crossed over by Luka Doncic in that Western Conference final in game 1 last year, and exciting memories, of course, for Luka, but he does it in back-to-back games, 37 in game 1, like you said, 31 in game 2. So big-time performances for him. But I think with Julius Randle, I know I mentioned him in the last episode. So what do we think about what he was able to do in games 1 and 2? Because it's not all just about Anthony Edwards from Minnesota. It's the guys around him, too. Mike Conley, veteran point guard, and Julius Randle coming in with some playoff experience despite his struggles in the postseason. How do you think he handled himself in these first 2 games?
No, yeah, well, first game 1, by just looking at the stats, I didn't really watch game 1, so I'm just going to go off the stats. But he had 16 off of 6 of 11 for shooting. Not that efficient and not that high of a number, so that's a bit shaky in game 1, but then in game 2 he goes off for 27 off of 9 and 17 for shooting. So again, that's a pretty efficient stat line. So I'll give him credit there. We all know his struggles in the playoffs. That's probably why the main reason the Knicks got rid of him this offseason. So we all know about Julius Randle's struggles in the offseason, but I think he's kind of overcoming. I'm seeing a different Julius Randle, a more confident Julius Randle, and also he's also coming off an injury that sidelined him from the playoffs last year. So he's going to have a different mindset for him to come back, since this is his first playoff series in 2 years. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Julius Randle. Always will be a fan of his. So again, I really like what I'm seeing from Julius Randle so far.
And shout out to Dante DiVincenzo as well.
Yes.
He's also making some really good contributions for this Timberwolves team. So another good key spot-up shooter you want on this team, and he's been a big production of what they've been able to do as well.
Yeah, I mean, his numbers aren't that crazy. I know he had 4 points in game 2, but you go back to game 1, he was really facilitating the ball well. He was a great spark plug off the bench, and sometimes that's all you need as a team that's trying to contend for a title. So again, loving what I'm seeing from both of our former Knicks here in this playoff series, and these are the 2 guys that could be X factors for the Wolves this playoff series as well.
Absolutely. And with this series going to Minnesota now, do we think, similar to the Knicks series with it being tied at 1, do we think split again, or do we think one of these teams can win 2 in a row in Minnesota?
I want to say that they go split again in Minnesota. I feel like Anthony Edwards won't lose at home both times this playoff series, because then if he does, then they go back to LA down 3-1. So again, I think that the Wolves can take one. I don't know really which one they could take. I could see them standing large at home in game 3, or they can easily drop the game 3. So this series is really now a toss-up for me. It was for sure Lakers before, but now that I've seen how the Wolves are playing the Lakers this series and how Anthony Edwards is coming with his energy this series, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from them. So I can really say either or for game 3.
I mean, you do have to flash back a little bit to last year, of course, in the second round when it was Minnesota who went into Denver and won the first 2.
Yeah.
And then Denver came into Minnesota and won both of those games. So, like we say about the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly one of the best parts about it. You really can't put a direct analysis on it and say, yeah, this is going to happen, because next thing you know, the team that you chose to win is going to be down by 50. Shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies, by the way. That was absolutely crazy in game 1. That was... Man, I said that they will make it a series. Now they're definitely going to get swept after that. I don't think there's any way they can come back from that. But back to this series, I definitely think that it's a toss-up now. I of course, want to see a Lakers win, and with the Lakers moving on to the second round and hopefully seeing the Warriors. But again, that's something that is in my fantasies. That's not really an analysis. So I'm loving what I'm seeing for the series so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to finish, of course, just like Knicks Pistons. But, I mean, you briefly mentioned Thunder Grizzlies there. I mean, man, oh man, John Morant, what are you going to do now? I mean, it's awful.
If I was a Grizzlies fan, I would for real not turn on another game after that game 1. I wouldn't even bother watching game 2, 3, or 4. It's just going to be a sweep after that. And that just also proves, the dominance of the Thunder. That's why they're my pick to win it all right now. So again, it was pretty much, it was just a crazy thing to see with that 50-point deficit.
I saw tickets for game 3 in Memphis. $10.
That's crazy.
$10.
That's actually crazy. A playoff game, your first playoff game for the series is kind of crazy. So, I no words for that, in all honesty.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not hopping on a plane, going to Memphis, and going for a $10 Memphis Grizzlies game to watch them get blown out by Shea and the Thunder and company. So, getting back to the point here, we're going to cover one more matchup. Clippers-Nuggets.
Yeah.
Another fun matchup as
fun.
Well. I mean, we're going to get on to game 2 in just a moment, because that was the game where I was very surprised. But game 1 was still another back-and-forth game, but the Nuggets prevailed in the end. Jokic and company get the job done. And the one thing that the Clippers did well in game 2, they figured out how to close out games.
Yeah.
Because James Harden was their offense in game 1. Outside of that, they had nothing else. That was the problem.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats here again. I didn't really watch this game. Game 1. I watched Game 2 fully, but in Game 1, you just mentioned James Harden had 32, Kawhi with 22 off of 9 of 15 shooting, so that's not a bad split for him. That's a pretty efficient split. But then outside of that, Norman Powell, he had 12 off of 5 of 12, and then Ivica Zubac, he had 21 off of 10 of 15. So they made it a close game, and they had some contributions, but it was really all James Harden. I know James Harden absolutely went off on the Nuggets, but the Nuggets, I feel like they just know how to close games now, which was a problem with Michael Malone. So that's a very nice thing to see. With the absence of Michael Malone, some of his past struggles are also gone there. But this Game 2, I think this is where the entire series flipped for me. I want to wait for you to talk about it, but man, Kawhi Leonard, I absolutely fall in love with again after Game 2. What a great performance he put on for us.
Watching Kawhi Leonard play healthy basketball, dropping 39 points in Game 2, it's flashbacks to prime Kawhi Leonard from 17 with the Spurs and 2019 with the Raptors. That's what it felt like watching Kawhi Leonard in Game 2. It was spectacular to see how good he played in Game 2, and now the series shifts back to Los Angeles to a new environment that has never seen an NBA playoff game in Inglewood.
I was just about to bring that up. You have the wall there in the Intuit Dome.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have the wall there. That's supposed to be the best fan section in all of the NBA. So we're gonna see its debut come Game 3. When is Game 3? Do you have any idea?
I believe it is. I believe it's tomorrow night. I think.
Okay, so then I'm all for it. I actually really can't wait to see what that wall looks like in that environment and whole. But back to Kawhi Leonard. If he could put on this type of performance every single game, I think I have them going all the way. I love Kawhi Leonard when he's healthy and when he's able to actually play basketball. I say it all the time. 2019 Kawhi Leonard, everybody was convinced he was the best player on the entire planet at that time, and I was definitely one of those people. So he's one of those players that can just do it all on offense. He's a mid-range sniper, and he can also extend out with the three, and then he's locking up your best player offensively on the defensive side. So again, love what I saw from the Clippers there, and more specific Kawhi Leonard. But the series as a whole, you had the first game go into overtime, and they only win by 2, the Nuggets. Then this game ends in the fourth quarter, but it's only a 3-point win for the Clippers. And again, a same type of series where we're seeing with the Knicks and Pistons, just back and forth. Great basketball with just both teams throwing haymakers at each other, trying to get that final knockout blow. So I'm very excited with this series as well. We're getting some very good treats in the first round of this playoffs.
Let's also remember the last time the Los Angeles Clippers won a playoff series was the second round in 2021 against the number 1 seed Utah Jazz before they went to lose to the Phoenix Suns in 6 in the Western Conference Finals. So that Clippers team did not have Kawhi Leonard. He was injured throughout half of that series, and all they could rely on was Paul George and a very old DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I vividly remember that series, but the Jazz and the Clippers, and Paul George, he absolutely went off. I believe Terrence Mann was also an X factor for them. I think he had like 40 in one of the elimination games. So I remember that playoff series, and I in a way kind of see that here with the Clippers, where they're the underdogs. No one thinks that they're going to make any crazy noise, but if you can get hot, you can get hot in the playoffs, and that's going to carry you a long way, most definitely.
They've been a franchise that has really been slept on for a long time, especially because of their history, not having won many titles or anything like that.
Yeah.
It seems like because they were originally in San Diego before they moved to LA, and I'm sure it was a controversy with the Lakers already being there. It was just, about who was LA's team, but the Clippers have finally figured out that we have talent. It's just a matter of putting the right team together to win, and they have a championship head coach in Tyronn Lue, who won the title with Cleveland in 2016. He played with Michael Jordan as a player in the NBA, and he played with Shaq and Kobe as a player in the NBA as well. So when you have a guy like that who can lead a team, who has that experience, can really help out a team like that is capable of upsetting the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it on the nail there. That one of their problems was gaining the talent in order to be a competitive franchise, and we saw that in 2020 when they both got Kawhi and Paul George. So that was obviously the shift where they actually now have talent, but it was all about putting it on the floor and making sure the guys were healthy. I mean, I haven't seen a full year where Kawhi Leonard has been healthy with the Clippers, and I think that the same could be said with Paul George's tenure with the Clippers as well. But now, like I said, when Kawhi Leonard is healthy, he's one of the best basketball players on the entire planet, and I firmly believe that, and I think he could be a very vital piece for them going forward.
Absolutely, and it's going to be an exciting way to see what the Clippers do in Games 3 and 4. Before we close it out, what do you think about when the series goes to the Intuit Dome? Split or we see 2 in a row by the Clippers or the Nuggets?
I think we see another Clippers Kawhi Leonard vintage performance. I think what I saw with the 39 points, and he only missed 4 shots, by the way. That's absolutely crazy and absurd to do with a 39-point performance. So I think we see another performance like that. I would like to see James Harden step up again for this for his debut in the playoffs in the Intuit Dome. But again, I'm really excited to see with the Clippers what they can do, and also with the Nuggets, of course, MVP Jokic is going to be back there. So I think he's going to make the presence known. But as far as my predictions, I got Game 3 going with the Clippers. Game 4 is going to go with the Denver Nuggets, and we head back to Denver 2-2 in the series.
I'd have to agree with you perfectly on that. I think Clippers ride the wave of momentum, and then they kind of slip a little bit, and Denver finds a way in with Murray and Jokic and company, and they find a way to get the win. On the other hand, real quick, I want to talk about one more thing real quick. Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're seeing a vintage Golden State Warriors, and we're seeing a vintage playoff Stephen Curry and playoff Jimmy Butler. We all know that playoff Jimmy is a person. He likes to turn it on in the playoffs. But I didn't know it was going to be to this effect, where not only is he doing it with the ball in his hands, but he's doing it off the ball, relieving a lot of pressure from Curry, and now you're seeing Curry step up big time in the playoffs. I'm very excited to see that series as well. We're getting absolutely great series this first round, and I'm all for it. So again, keep giving to me NBA. I'll gladly take another Curry versus Lakers series again. LeBron and Curry doing one more time with the Last Dance. Please, I'm praying that we get that. But yeah, I absolutely love the games that we've seen so far.
Basketball gods, Adam Silver, give us everything we want. Give us the Knicks and the Celtics. Give us the Lakers and the Warriors. Please, 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 please. But we'll have to wait till the second round for that to happen. But anyways, this episode of Empire State Hoops has been powered by Sport Pros USA. For more information, visit sportprosusa.com or call 877-HOOPS-NJ to make your dream court a reality today. So, Week 1 of the playoffs will continue to roll on. The Knicks will play the Pistons Thursday night at 7 p.m. Episode will be live at 5 p.m. Make sure to tune in for all of our stuff. We'll keep you posted on everything going on throughout the week as well. And then next week will be our season finale with our semester coming to a close. We will have one more wrap-up of the first round of the playoffs with the Knicks, and then we'll get you ready for who their second-round opponent is. I mean, we're probably guessing it's going to be the Boston Celtics if they beat the Orlando Magic. That's a mini if, because they probably will. But we'll see what happens with that. But from here, on Empire State Hoops, I'm Adam Rothschild. That's Marquise Frias, and we will see you next week for our Round 1 closer.